What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Blacklight Rewind. I'm Johnny Blacklight, and today we're getting into some prestige TV series pilots. Man, some of my favorite stuff for sure. In this episode, I'm going to be doing pilot reviews for NYPD Blue, The Sopranos, Oz, Breaking Bad, and Walking Dead. One of my favorite watch blocks for sure, man. Definitely been looking forward to this one. Super stoked to get back into these shows and rewatch them. I'll be reviewing all of the episodes, so stay tuned. So we're going to be kicking things off with NYPD Blue. The NYPD Blue pilot introduces Detective Andy Sipowicz, an alcoholic veteran, and his younger partner, Detective John Kelly, as they investigate mobster Alphonse Giardella. After Sipowicz is suspended for attacking Giardella, the gangster shoots him in an ambush. Enraged, Kelly vows to bring Giardella down, while his wife begins divorce proceedings and he starts a relationship with new patrol officer Janice LaCalci. However, LaCalci is revealed to be a possible informant for Giardella, setting up a possible dangerous situation for Kelly. Man, I really enjoy the atmosphere and the vibes that NYPD Blue has. The world building and the character stuff just feels so spot on from the start. It just feels like dropping right into like a very realistic, very lived in story. Characters that interact with each other on more of a what feels to be like a personal level. Andy Sipowicz is a wildly unhinged but entertaining character right from the start. He gives the show a hard edge that fits well with the setting and the atmosphere. This the gritty city, smoky, nasty, grungy vibe. It's perfect. Great time capsule of the time period in the 90s as well. The John Kelly character is great here too, man. Super stand-up guy. His relationship with his partner Andy and his marital problems, going through divorce currently and starting to date the fellow cop. Just so much going on, so much to take in, so much dynamics and just interesting stuff right here in the first episode. Leaves a lot to look forward to when it comes to, plot dynamics and character stuff for the future of the series. I also love the escalation of the episode with Andy getting shot and put into a coma state. Such a shocking moment, such a crazy sequence that they did there. Very sleazy with Sipowicz meeting up with a prostitute in a grungy old motel, Giardella popping up on him. Funny lines too. I love how he just keeps messing with his wig. Oh, it's so great. It's like, your last word, Sipowicz. He's like, I'd rather die than be wearing that wig, or something like that. So good. And when he attacks him and he's just like taking his wig off and like sticking his mouth and all this crazy stuff, just so over the top. Sipowicz is such a crazy character. The dialogue is wild as well, just like crazy stuff he says to people. So funny. Of the time though, for sure, just feels like that time period when everything was just a little bit more snarky and just hard edged, especially like these cop dramas from this time period. I feel like this is just like quintessential stuff when it comes to that subgenre of film and TV. But yeah, the character dynamics are great here, man. I love how John Kelly is really standing up for his partner, and he's just going after Giardella, just, focused, beeline and straight for him. He's not scared of anything. He's not worried about the threats. He's not worried about the mob stuff. Says a lot about his character right from the start, so really cool. And Sipowicz just crashing out, man. Those scenes of him in the bar, just like taking 3 and 4 shots at a time or whatever. It's just, chain smoking cigarettes. It's wild, man. It's so crazy to see. Yeah, great cliffhanger endings to get the touching moment with John and Andy in the hospital. Andy in the coma state, squeezing John's hand. Plus the ending scene with Janice and Giardella. Wonderful cliffhanger, man. The plot thickens. Another thing I love about this thing is the soundtrack, man. Oh, man, the score here is just, for one, just super nostalgic for me because this show was on back in the day in my household all the time. My parents loved this show. It's one of their favorites. I was just a little kid, so I wasn't like following along with all the plot and all that kind of stuff, but it was on in the background for me, and that music, it's there. It's embedded in my head. So, hearing it again was just like, that warm, fuzzy feeling was definitely there. And I also just love the vibe of it. It's just really cool sounding music. It's something I could totally see myself listening to. Like, I'm just going to have to like look up the soundtrack for the show and just like jam it and see what's up because it's good. Accompanies the atmosphere of the show and the gritty city vibe perfectly. But yeah, great atmospheric vibes. That's probably one of my favorite aspects of it, as well as the character stuff. So yeah, man, solid start to a show, man. Great pilot. Super excited to get into the rest of the series. Stay tuned for more. Alrighty, next one up is the pilot episode of The Sopranos. In the pilot, New Jersey mob boss Tony Soprano begins seeing psychiatrist Dr. Jennifer Melfi after experiencing a panic attack, which he initially dismisses but struggles to understand. As he recounts his stressful home life, his failing marriage, and the pressures of his criminal dealings. He uses coded language for his mafia activities. The episode introduces Tony's complicated relationships with his family and crew, including his resentful Uncle Junior and his impulsive nephew Christopher, setting the stage for a life defined by conflicting loyalties to his family and his anxieties. Man, for Sopranos, I thought the pilot episode was great. I love the character style study it does with the lead character, Tony. I like the interactions with the therapist and the humanization of the mob boss style character like Tony. It showcases a character who has defined himself as like a person who kind of like acts accordingly to, I guess, how the past world was, and is having a lot of trouble facing the changing landscape that like is modern times. His guilt is shown well with him fighting with his emotions when it comes to like being the rough, brutal mob boss, but also like balancing the family man lifestyle, because we definitely see a lot of the family dynamic as well right here from the beginning. So that's going to show you that we're going to get both. We're going to get a lot of like family drama stuff, work drama stuff, drama stuff with the psychiatrist, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of violence, action, and some setup when it comes to like the mob dealings and what they're doing, introducing the other characters in the mix. A bit rushed and all over the place. Characters not fully fleshed out yet, but it is a pilot with a lot of moving parts. We'll get even more into a lot of moving parts with pilots when it comes to Oz here in a bit. But that can give us, quite a bit to look forward to with interesting characters and dynamics going on and where things are going to go and how all this is going to lay out. So I don't mind it. Yeah, and I really see why the creators of Breaking Bad were inspired by the cinematic aspects of the show. And it's shot very well with great attention to detail with the cinematography and whatnot. Very ahead of its time with the way it's shot, different cinematography techniques and whatnot. Definitely one of those shows that kind of paved the way for what these TV dramas became. And then kind of a new evolution of the way they were shot and the way they were taken a bit more serious. But yeah, great atmosphere right off the bat with the pilot here for Sopranos. Feels like something right out of like Goodfellas or Casino. Definitely shares DNA with that kind of stuff. So they nail that, obviously. I mean, we get characters just chewing the scenery to bits here already. So I love that kind of stuff. I'm a big mob movie fan anyways, so super excited to get back into Sopranos. It's one I've seen most of. I never did finish it, and I saw it a long time ago. I mentioned this in another video, but I watched Sopranos on DVD from Blockbuster. So I was renting them, I think, at some point. They didn't have the DVD I needed next, so I got something else, and I just never returned to the series. But here we are. It's in the watch block. We're going to chug through the whole series, and super excited to get into it. Because it's one I've always wanted to return to and just rewatch and finish and do reviews for and stuff anyways. So here we are. But yeah, a really fun pilot that sets up the world in a great way. It shows us a lot of different things. Like, we get the therapist thing. That's something that you don't see a lot in mob stuff. You don't see a lot of mob characters dealing with their feelings or anything like that. The ducks, the duck symbolism, a lot of cool symbolism here too. Shows a lot of attention to detail with the script and the writing and the story and where this thing's going to go. We also get iconic opening and closing shots that really tie this thing together. Not only as a great pilot episode, but as a great piece of like standalone content on its own as well. Again, feeling like something like Goodfellas or Casino, but with like a little extra sprinkle of something different. A little bit more depth, I guess you could say. So yeah, man, definitely stoked to get into the series. Stay tuned for more. Alrighty. Next up, we're going to be talking about HBO's Oz, the pilot episode called The Routine. It introduces viewers to the Oswald Maximum Security Penitentiary and its experimental unit, Emerald City, where inmates are housed with the goal of rehabilitation through 24-hour surveillance and the enforced coexistence of various racial and social factions. The episode features the arrival of new inmates, including the terrified Tobias Beecher, and establishes the brutal hierarchy and constant violence within the prison, setting the stage for the show's gritty exploration of power, survival, and the failures of the penal system. Oh man, the Oz pilot is also great too. This is one of my favorite series of all time, so definitely stoked to get into this one for sure. I feel like this pilot does a fantastic job at setting the stage in such a big, yet confined and claustrophobic world, with so many moving parts and characters. Like we said before with Sopranos, very similar, but I feel like even more here. But yeah, I love that contrast of the big prison world, but also the confinement and claustrophobia of it too. It's just spot on. The Augustus Hill character is a great literal narrator here, and I love the artsy set pieces they use with him. Such a time capsule of that time. So weird and like poetic and avant-garde, I guess you would say. Really cool stuff. I love that, poetry 90s weird vibe. So cool. The dynamics between Tim McManus, which is the guy who runs Emerald City, and Warden Glenn is playing well right from the start, man. Establishes their roles great here. They're always kind of button heads, and McManus is always wanting to kind of try something a little different. Warden Glenn's kind of wanted to kind of stay by the book for the most part. It's kind of a pushover when it comes to like the governor and stuff like that. We'll get into that as we get into the series. But we see how Tim kind of stands up for his own ideas, even against somebody like Warden Glenn, who he's close friends with as well. So that plays well into the dynamics with them too as well. So really cool. We mostly follow Tobias Beecher. I feel like he is kind of our anchor for the whole series. He's kind of the relatable character. He's the fish out of water. He's the one who's like the regular guy. He's not like this gangster, crazy murderer criminal. He is in prison for kind of making a mistake and, drinking and driving, accidentally killing someone. So we follow him for much of the episode, and this character is just the perfect relatable character for the viewers. He does a great job at playing a regular person here, just trapped in like this new hellish prison world. We get lots of turmoil here in this first episode between the different gangs. Kareem Saeed arrives. He's a Muslim activist who sees himself as a political prisoner. Him approaching things differently does a great job at brewing turmoil between the differences in the groups. Great performance too, man. The Vern Schillinger and Tobias dynamic begins here and ends up leading to some of the wildest stuff in the series with these two, man. Very interesting to see how it all started and how docile Beecher is, because he has such a great transformation throughout the series. But we'll get way more into that as we go. The stuff with Dino Ortolani was also an interesting dynamic, creating a domino effect with his violence against another inmate's brother, leading to Dino's death. This aspect already captures the domino effect that the plot style has here in the show, intertwining all the moving parts of the show. Fantastic job with that in this series, all things considered. The Ryan O'Reilly character is introduced as well, and immediately does a great job with the character, showing how he's the master manipulator type of character. The one who gets into others' heads and kind of causes what he wants to happen, like with Dino getting killed. Yeah, one of my favorite characters in the show, man, the Mayhem guy from the Mayhem commercials. Yeah, this episode does a great job at introducing us to so many characters here, even with just a little bit. We get Adebisi, Donald Groves, we get a little bit of him, Rebadow, Sister Pete, Nurse Gloria, so many. Plus the ending sets up more back and forth with like gang activity stuff, rivalry stuff, which this show is great at. Solid cliffhangers all around with this thing. But yeah, this pilot does a great job at showing that there's something brewing. There's tension building. You can cut it with a knife here already from the start, leading to a great finale for the first season. We'll get there. But yeah, such an immersive atmosphere. I love the sounds in the background, the gates closing and the buzzing. Oh man, just so immersive. So yeah, man, one of my favorite series of all time. If you've never checked out Oz, I highly recommend it. Honestly, though, it kind of sucks. I would recommend buying the DVD set and just watching it that way, because the formatting on HBO Max, the formatting on the HBO app is just off. So like it's a square show, you know what I mean? It's old 90s show. So it has the black bars on the sides, not the top, but the sides, which, when you watch old stuff, it's like that. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. The DVDs are like that as well. But for some reason, they have it like squished a little bit more. Like it's off a little bit. It's like too small. The black bars on the side are even bigger. So it's just weird. Something's not formatted correct on the app version of Oz. So I definitely recommend getting the DVD set. Plus you get all the cool special feature stuff. You get commentaries and whatnot. So yeah, man, check it out. Alrighty, next one up, we're doing the pilot episode of Breaking Bad. The first episode of Breaking Bad, diagnosed with terminal cancer, high school chemistry teacher Walter White decides to cook and sell crystal meth with his former student Jesse Pinkman to secure his family's financial future. They set up a mobile meth lab in an RV, and their first attempt at a drug deal turns violent, ending with Walt using his chemistry knowledge to kill 2 dealers, setting the stage for his transformation into the drug lord Heisenberg. Oh man, the pilot for Breaking Bad is amazing for me. one of my favorite pilots of all time for sure. The setup works so well, with the start being what Walt thought was the end of the line already, and then things going back 3 weeks to show how we get there. Oh man, this one's got it all. And it almost feels like its own little short film, a wonderful lead into what we end up getting with the series. This one hooked me for sure when I first watched it back in the day. Oh man, this pilot and the Walking Dead pilot are probably my two favorites, and man, they both just hooked me. It's like I have to keep watching. I need that in a pilot sometimes, most of the time actually, so it really helps. Here we see Walt's manipulation from the start, with Jesse and his partnership beginning, Walt telling him he'll turn Jesse in if he doesn't help him. So we can already see the villainous side of Walt coming out. We also see Walt already hiding things when he doesn't tell Skyler about his cancer diagnosis. The atmosphere is great here, man. The world feels nice and lived in already. The characters establish themselves into things pretty organically. A great tone. Another one of those shows that feels like the setting is a looming character of its own, and I really like that about it. I love when a show can do that. Just have that setting that it's like, it's more immersive for me. It's more atmospheric, and I'm a big atmosphere, immersion, a good score, a good vibe. I need that. The pacing of this pilot is also very well done, taking its time to introduce the idea and the process of Walt wanting to begin cooking and selling meth in the first place. We also get some great suspense and action-based scenes with what happens with Emilio and Crazy 8 in the RV. There's also just wonderful cinematography all around, man. From the fast-paced, detailed close-ups, for example, the montage sequence when they're cooking and you're seeing everything move and you're getting the close-ups of everything and the music's hitting and it's just perfect. From that to the wide, smooth establishing shots out in the desert and stuff with the RV. Oh man, again, it just feels so immersive and it feels so middle of nowhere for those parts. It just works. The chemistry between these characters is spot on right from the beginning as well. All the characters seem to kind of gel so well already, bumping up the realism and the immersion. I also love the little stuff there, Walt saying someday to Hank, telling him to, get some excitement into his life. Great foreshadowing for, what's to come throughout the series. Yeah, very uneasy tone and vibe when it comes to the score and the soundtrack. Just perfect. The family dynamic is also showcased really well when it comes to everybody. You got Uncle Hank and Aunt Marie, and everybody just kind of feels real. You know what I mean? Everybody feels convincing. Again, that's, the chemistry of these characters here, and these actors are just spot on. But yeah, man, I love this one, man. One of my favorite series of all time. It's great, dude. So I'm super excited to get into this one as well. One of my favorite things about this pilot is probably just the fact that it feels like such a little movie. It feels like its own little thing. It wraps up perfect, the way it starts and then the way it brings us to the start at the end. I love it. It's smooth. It's seamless. It's great. Alrighty, and the last one for today's episode is The Walking Dead pilot, Days Gone By. In the pilot of The Walking Dead, Deputy Sheriff Rick Grimes awakens from a coma to discover the world has been overrun by zombies, or walkers as they call them here. After finding his home deserted, he connects with Morgan and his son Dwayne, who inform him about the apocalypse in a supposed refugee center in Atlanta. Rick then travels to the abandoned and walker-infested city in search of his wife and son, setting the stage for his journey into the new, dangerous world. Like I said before, man, The Walking Dead pilot is another one of my favorite pilots, and might be my all-time favorite one. Breaking Bad's such a great one, though, man, so I'm not totally sure on that, but I do love it. It's up there with it. And I feel like this one might feel like a standalone short film even more so than Breaking Bad, in my opinion. Just because I guess Breaking Bad has a little bit more story to it, and where more things to look forward to, is whereas Walt's going to try to save up a bunch of money to help his family, stuff like that. It has a longer base plot, I guess, where Walking Dead does as well too. But if you just take this first episode as a one piece of content kind of thing, it's okay, well, I could totally see something like this, a horror zombie show, ending on something like this. Plus we get a little bit of tie up with things. We see that Rick's wife and son are alive, so there's that. But anyways, it's not a standalone short film. It's a series, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. Such a great introduction to Rick and the apocalyptic world here, man. Inspired by 28 Days Later, but I love the opening with Rick wandering around in the hospital gown, just having no idea what's going on. So scary, man. That was such a great opening for 28 Days Later, and to kind of homage that, kind of do your own thing with it a little bit. is really cool and really works. And it's really effective here. And worked in great in the marketing for this thing, because when this came out, I remember that was the first thing I saw was the TV spot trailer with Rick, walking down the hall, the don't open dead inside doors, all that. So that hooked me. That what got me wanting to watch. It was coming on that Halloween, 2010, I think it was, and been a fan ever since. So it worked for me then, and it works for me now. Also, the first time he sees a body on the hospital floor, it's definitely a powerful moment, because he's like, oh wow, like there's some violence here. There's some death. There's some destruction behind whatever's going on. You know what I mean? Starting to kind of figure things out. Yeah, iconic stuff right there at the beginning for sure, man. As well as the shot of him later, like riding into Atlanta on horseback. Just classic. The first zombie kill is definitely shocking, and also a very iconic moment as well. It being a child zombie, being the first one that we see on screen, adds an extra element of like bleakness and whatnot to the world here. And opening the show with that is just like, boom, right in your face. I also love the Morgan character. I was super bummed later on when he left for Fear the Walking Dead, a downgrade for sure. But I appreciate him in this first episode of the main series, and he's a great way to give some exposition on what's going on here. His dynamic with Rick is great right from the beginning here. Plus the stuff with his wife dying and turning into a walker is really heavy. And his emotions coming through so well in his acting when he's trying to take aim at her from the window, but just can't do it. Oh man, so powerful. Such great stuff. Old School Walking Dead was so good. The atmospheric vibes are definitely strong here in this first episode. The setting looks great. Everything looks like legitimately abandoned, and the world feels empty, haunting, and just incredibly bleak. Excellent camera work all around. I love the immersive close-ups, like with Rick and Morgan, and they're in the house with Morgan's son Dwayne, and they're having a meal, discussing what's going on. Great stuff. All the way to the large-scale scope establishing shots here too, man. So much scope right off the bat. Both Breaking Bad and this episode of The Walking Dead have some good range when it comes to the camera work and whatnot. The ending is great here. We get a classic cliffhanger with Glenn on the radio and Rick stuck in the tank. I also love the view from above shot here too. It looks so great. The city also looks wonderful, and the zombie horde works well in this sequence. I love how Rick turns the corner and then bam, there's just so many of them right there. It's cool how he must kind of go from dealing with the walkers one-on-one, kind of discovering them, learning about them from Morgan as well, but then to having to deal with a large group of them. The establishment of Shane being with Lori, Rick's wife, is a powerful dynamic to put us right into the drama of what's going to eventually go down once they find out that Rick is, in fact, still alive. I also love the character of Shane as well. I feel like he was the perfect contrast to someone like Rick, and that ended up leading to a lot of great confrontation stuff that I'm super stoked to get into. But yeah, man, I love this pilot episode. One of my favorites of all time. Just a great scope, great atmosphere, great vibes, great introduction to a great character. But yeah, stay tuned. I'll be doing reviews of all these shows. But I think that's going to do it for the episode today. Thanks for tuning in to Blacklight Rewind. I'm Johnny Blacklight. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see you next time.